Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shwaparantikam Vande Aham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam panglam bhayati girim yat kripa tamaham vande Sri Gurun dinataranam paramananda madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Katanchana smrite yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavit Vismrite viparitam shat Sri Chaitanya namamitam. Hare Krishna. So welcome back everybody to our regular Bhakti Sastri class. So in the previous class, we were discussing about the three modes of material nature and what are the symptoms of those who are affected by particular modes of material nature. And then we discuss also about the competition between amongst the modes of material nature. And today we will be discussing the last part of this 14th chapter, which is how to transcend the three modes of material nature. Yeah. So transcending the modes. So hopefully we can cover from text number 19 up to the end of the 14th chapter. One transcends all three modes by knowing that all within this world takes place under the modes, and by understanding that Krishna's activities are transcendental to the modes. One who engages in undeviating devotional service comes to the level of Brahman, of which Krishna is the source. So in the text number 21, actually, Arjuna, he asked three questions to Lord Krishna. And what are those questions? We will see that later. Verse 22 answers Arjuna's first question about the symptoms of a transcendentalist. So this is the first question asked by Arjuna. What is the symptoms of those who are transcending the modes of material nature? Verses 23 to 25 answer his second question, but Krishna answer Arjuna's second question as to what is such person's behavior. And verses 26 to 27 discuss bhakti, the method of transcending the modes. Actually, verse number 26, Lord Krishna answer Arjuna's third question, how to transcend the three modes of material nature, thus answering Arjuna's the third question. So text number 27 actually describing that how actually Krishna is the source of Brahman. Okay, text number 19. When one properly sees, when one properly sees that in all activities, no other performer is at work, then this modes of material nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. Okay. So this is actually same as the verse Prakriti Kriyamanani. Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvasaha. So everything is done by the three modes of material nature. Ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Due to our false ego, we are thinking that we are the doer, but actually we are not the doer. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada wrote, one can transcend all the activities of the modes of material nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from the proper souls. The real spiritual master is Krishna, and he is imparting the spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. Similarly, it is from those who are fully in Krishna consciousness that one has to learn the science of activities in terms of the modes of nature. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected. So again, here Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the importance of accepting a bona fide spiritual master. So he mentioned here the real spiritual master is Krishna, and he is imparting the spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. So we found this in the fourth chapter where Lord Krishna mentioned to Arjuna, Sa evayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha. Sa evayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratana. Puratana means the ancient science. So Puratana, ancient. So this knowledge, spiritual knowledge, again imparted unto you by me, Lord Krishna mentioned. Bhakto si me sakacheti. So this is the qualification to understand the mystery about Krishna. That the first one is that Bhakto si, by becoming his devotee. Sakache, of course, Arjuna is his Krishna's very dear friend. Therefore, he is revealing this transcendental knowledge to Arjuna. So similarly, it is from those who are fully in Krishna consciousness that one has to learn. So the parampara system is playing a very important role here. It is not that we simply accept Krishna, but we accept also Krishna's devotee. In fact, we cannot approach Krishna without approaching his devotee. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected. So the only person who understands Krishna is actually the devotees. If we learn the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita through the non-devotees, so they may give us a wrong information because they don't know who is Krishna. Like in India especially, everybody, they say that I know Krishna. Oh yeah, I know Krishna. But actually, unless one is surrendered to Krishna, so one will not be able to understand Krishna's real position. Srila Prabhupada continue. It has already been stated in the seventh chapter that one who has surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. For one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases. So anybody still remember in which verse in the seventh chapter that Srila Prabhupada referring here? That one who is taking shelter of Krishna is relieved from the material nature, modes of material nature. Anybody would like to contribute on that? This is one of the verses that you have to memorize. Any contribution? Which verse Srila Prabhupada is referring?
बहुनाम जन्मानामन्ते ज्ञानम नाम प्रपन्न वासुदेवम सर्वमिति स्वमात्मा.
So what is the translation of Bahunam Janmanamante verse?
After many births and deaths,
Mm-hmm.
he who is actually in the knowledge surrender unto me, knowing me to the cause of all causes and all. There's such a great soul is very there.
Okay, very nice. Thank you for your contribution. Any other idea still on the same question? If you read Srila Prabhupada's purport, here the second part, it has already been stated in the seventh chapter that one who has surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. So the three modes of material nature is very difficult to overcome. And those who surrender to Krishna will be very easily cross over the three modes of material nature. Okay, I reveal the verse. The verse is that 7.14. Daivi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Mama Maya Duratyaya. This material nature, the three modes of material nature, is actually also Daivi, Krishna's divine energy. Therefore, it is Mama Maya Duratyaya. Krishna said, Mama Maya. It is my energy. Duratyaya, very difficult to overcome. Mam eva ye prapadyante. Those who surrender to me, Krishna says, Maya metam tarantite. It's easy for them to cross over these material modes of nature. Yeah. But thank you very much, Vanamali Prabhu, for your attempt. Still appreciate it. Okay. So this is seeing the modes as the doer. The first part is that seeing the modes as the doer, and then the second part of this verse is that the Lord is transcendental to the modes. Here we can see that these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes. So the first part is that this one. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work, then these modes of nature. So we have to understand that actually we are not the doer, but the modes of material nature actually enacting our activities. And then Krishna is beyond. Krishna is transcendental to all these three modes of material nature. Text number 20. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. So those who are engaged in Krishna service, even though he's still embodied, actually he's liberated. Ihayasya haridasya karmanamana sagira. Nikila swapyavastasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. So jivan mukta sa uchyate. This is a very famous verse from Rupa Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Jivan mukta sa uchyate. That person is liberated although he is still within the material body, provided ihayasya harir dashi is performing harir dashi, devotional service to Lord Hari. Karmana manasa gira. So he is using his work, his activities, his mind, karmana manasa gira, his word. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned how one can stay in the transcendental position even in this body, and that is in full Krishna consciousness, is explained in this verse. So not half Krishna consciousness, not 75% Krishna consciousness, but it should be full Krishna consciousness. Then we can stay in the transcendental position. Otherwise, sometimes we sometimes we how to say, we give sometimes also for the senses to be away from Krishna consciousness. Sometimes that happen also. That's why it is not something that surprising that we still have some attachment to the material engagement, material sense gratification, because we still giving up to some percentage our senses to be engaged in the activities of sense gratification. But those who are in full Krishna consciousness, so there is no chance. Full mean 100%, 24 hours a day, 24 hour by 7. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from the influence of the modes of nature. He can enjoy the happiness in spiritual life, even in this body, because after leaving this body. He is certainly going to the spiritual sky, but even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. So those who are liberated soul is not necessarily situated in the spiritual sky. Vaikuntha can be created in material realm. So that only through the process of devotional service. By association amongst the devotees, we can create holy dham, and the holy dham is actually non different from spiritual sky, spiritual world. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned. What is that verse? Very famous. That the body of the devotees are actually non different from yatra. Yatra means the holy places. I forgot how it starts. Maybe today is not a very lucky day to memorize verse. In other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglement. And this will be explained in the 18th chapter. When one is free from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service. So this, the verse that Srila Prabhupada referring to, the 18th chapter, is the verse Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Na Sochati Na Kangsati Sama Sarve Subhutesu Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. So Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. Those who are situated in Brahman platform, Brahma Bhuta platform. What are the symptoms? The symptoms are mentioned. There are two here. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Na Sochati. Na Sochati Na Kangsati. He's not uh, lamenting for whatever seemingly he lost, na sochati, na kangsati, nor do he desire whatever he doesn't have. Sama sarve subhutesu, and he, this is the second symptom, sama sarve subhutesu. He sees everybody, he sees everybody with the equal vision. So that's the symptoms of those who are situated in the Brahma Bhuta platform or Brahman realization. Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. And it's easy for them to become a fully surrendered soul to Krishna and engage in devotional service. So this verse is about the result of transcending the modes. So what is the result of transcending the modes? This is the result that he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. So sometimes we ask that here Sri Krishna said that he can be free from death, old age, death and old age. But the devotees, we see the devotees, they are also dying, they becoming old and they becoming die. And they die, they become old and they die, they leave the body. Then how we can reconcile this? It is also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Ayur harati vai pumsam udyan astan chayan aso. Ayur harati vai pumsam. Ayu means the lifespan. Ayur harati vai pumsam udyan astan chayan aso. So both by the rising and setting of the sun, they are actually decreasing this raising and setting of the sun, decreasing the lifespan of everybody. Ayur harati vai pumsam udyan astan chayan aso. Uttama sloka vartaya. But for those who are engaging themselves in the Uttama sloka vartaya, discussion, hearing and chanting the glorification of Krishna, Uttama sloka, so they will not be affected by old age. Their lifespan is not decreased by the raising and setting of the sun. Then how we can reconcile this statement both here in the Bhagavad Gita as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that the devotees, they do facing old age and death. Anybody would like to comment on that? No comment.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
The body of, I mean, a devotee, the body maybe maybe they're still also following the law of nature, like getting old and different thing, but their consciousness and devotion, if they engage to service to Krishna, so they will be transformed later on. When we remember Krishna, when we die, then we will be transformed to uh, spiritual world. And then for that case, then there is no, actually no longer affected
Mm.
by what is it, the not decreasing their lifespan, because will be transferred in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah. That's correct. That's the correct answer. Actually, the understanding is that actually old age for the common people, for the non-devotees, old age and death, these two things, old age and death, are actually such a very scary things for them. Very scary. People are afraid of becoming old and disabled, and people also afraid of death. But for the devotees, old age and death actually an opportunity, just like a gate by which we can enter to the spiritual sky. So we don't afraid of becoming old. We don't afraid of facing death. Ante Narayana Smriti, because at the time of death we can remember Krishna. Ante Narayana Smriti. This is our goal actually, to remember Krishna at the time of death. Anta kale jamam eva smaran muktva kale varam ya prayati samad bhavam yati nastyatra samsaya. There is no doubt for those who are at the time of death. Anta kale cha mam eva smaran. If we remember Krishna at the time of death, we can actually transform ourselves into the spiritual sky. So for us, there's no uh, there's no reason of being afraid, of being fearful of old age and death, because this is a chance for us actually. We are approaching Krishna's lotus feet. I mean, we already in contact with Krishna's lotus feet, but to meet Krishna face to face, now this is our chance at the time of death. Text number 21. Arjuna inquire, "Oh my dear Lord, by which symptoms?" So this is the question of Arjuna. Three questions here. The first one is that by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to the three modes? So Arjuna is asking how we can identify those who are transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Second one is that what is his behavior, how he is acting. Arjuna is asking about the external behavior. And how does he transcend the modes of nature? So the third one is that how we can, by what means, Arjuna is asking, by what means we can transcend the three modes of material nature. So Srila Prabhupada says, unless one knows the direct means by which one can be situated always transcendentally, there is no possibility of showing the symptoms. So all these questions put by Arjuna are very important, and the Lord answered them. So this is actually the purpose of begetting human life. Kamasya nandriya priti, kamasya nindriya priti, labo jiveta yavata, jivasya tattva jigyasa na arto yacheha karma vihi. So what is the purpose of begetting human being? Jivasya tattva jigyasa is to inquire about the absolute truth. Kamasya na indriya pritir, not for the indriya pritir, not for sense gratification. Labo jive dayavata jivasya tattva jigyasa. This is the purpose, is to inquire. Atato brahma jigyasa. First and foremost is that inquire about the absolute truth. Inquire about our position and who is God and what is our relationship with God and what are supposed to be done. Jivasya tattva jigyasa. So this question actually similar question, almost similar like Arjuna asked in the second chapter. If you remember, Arjuna is asking about what are the symptoms of those who are sthita pragya, those who are transcendentally situated, how he behave, how he talks, how he move. Arjuna asked this question. And immediately in the next verse, Lord Krishna responded to Arjuna's question to the what are the symptoms of those who are sthita pragya. Lord Krishna said, Duke swanu digna mana, suke su vigata spriha vitaraga bhaya kroda sthitadir munir uchyate. So those who are unmute, kindly to mute. Okay. Sthitadir munir uchyate. So those who are sthita pragya. The first one is that duke swa anudvigna mana. If he gets some seemingly distress in his life, he doesn't feel like so much. So sukesu vigata spriya, and he will not be so much elated, so much excited when he gets some happiness in his life. So for them, actually, happiness and distress, they are actually same for them, because after all, it's just pertaining to the material body. Sama dukkha sukham dhiram somritattvaya kalpate. So amritattvaya kalpate. Sama sukha dukkam dhiram. So those who are uh, behaving equally toward sama sukha, toward happiness, and dukkha, toward distress. So amritattvaya, they are eligible to get the amrita. So amritattvaya kalpate. What is that amrita referring to? That amrita refers to liberation. So this is the first and foremost eligibility of how to become liberated from the material world. First is that we have to become sama. Sama means equally disposed toward happiness, distress, equally disposed toward any dualities in the material world. And after all, this material world is the world of duality. Black, white, high, low, honor, dishonor, happy, distress, night, day, everything. It's all about duality, good, bad. Okay. And this is Krishna's answer, text number 22 till 25. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear. So this is the answer to the first question of Arjuna. What are the symptoms of those who are transcendental to the three modes of material nature? So this is the symptoms. They are actually not hankering. Sama sarve subhutesu. What is that? Na sochati na kangsati. Yeah, they don't hanker and they don't lament. So this is the first one is that being equal to any situation. And then text number 23 to 25. This is with the white color. This is the answer of the second question. How he behaved. What is his behavior? So the answer is that who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye. So I definitely cannot see a stone with gold with the equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame. So praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. So it's very high demand actually to be equal with both praise or blame, honor, dishonor, treat alike both friend and enemy. Normally with our enemy we are keeping hatred, and friends we are dealing with love. But those who are uh, transcended the modes of material nature, so they treat everybody equally. This is a very high philosophy actually. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, when one is conscious of the material body, he acts only for sense gratification. But when one transfers to the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. One does not need this material body, and he does not need to accept the dictation of the material body. It's amazing, Srila Prabhupada mentioned here. One does not need this material body. Yes, we don't need material body because this material body is Dukalayam Asaswatam, the place of suffering, and this material body is temporary. We want something which is eternal, right? Eternal happiness, eternal wealth, eternal beauty. Why people making so much effort to keep their face beautiful? Let's say like this. There are so many advertisements about this powder, this makeup, that makeup, this body soap, and so on and so forth, just to keep the body always fresh and beautiful, right? We don't want to look ugly in the front of somebody else. We always want to look like really attractive and beautiful. But after all, this material body will get old, and what happened? Wrinkles start coming, and we become ugly. So we don't want that, right? So Srila Prabhupada writes, one does not need this material body because this material body is not actually what we want, but falsely we are desiring this because we are in illusion. We are thinking that, by getting this material body, by enjoying separately from Krishna, by being independent from Krishna, we'll become happy. No, it's illusion. The qualities of the material modes in the body will act, but as spirit soul, the self is aloof from such activities. Once we come back to our real sense, that means once we really understand that we are not the body, well, we heard this, we know the philosophy, we are not the body, but do we really understand that? The symptoms of really understanding is that we can see it through our activities. To the degree of our attachment to this material body, so that is actually the degree of our material fever. I would say material fever. That means we don't really understand the philosophy when we still, try to. Of course, it should not be neglected. The material body should not be neglected. That's one thing. Detachment does not mean neglect, okay? But real detachment means we take care of the body, we take care of the body nicely and engage in devotional service. That's detachment. The only purpose of we are keeping health keeping clean, this body healthy and clean, is just to engage in Krishna service, not otherwise. Mm. So that's the real meaning of being aloof from the body. Being aloof from the body means we keep our concern with the body, because however this body is Krishna's property, we should not neglect. Just like we have house, we have money, whatever, it's all Krishna's property. But at the same time, we cannot say that everything will be taken care by Krishna and you don't lock your door at night, so the thief will come and take whatever your possession. So that is negligent. But we still taking care of whatever we possess, and at the same time engage those properties in Krishna's service. That's the real detachment. Nirvanda Krishna sambande yuktam vairagyam uchyate anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjataha nirbanda Krishna sambande. When everything is connected in Krishna service, yuktam vairagyam uchyate. That's the real vairagya, detachment. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. Thus, transcendently situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. So it is not that Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, nor does he desire to get out of it. So it is not that because we don't need this body, okay, I want to end up this body. No, that is foolishness. But we just go with the flow. We just go with the flow. Okay, this is how Krishna wants, and in such a certain time I have to leave the body, so I have to leave the body. Don't force yourself to leave the body now. That is sinful. When Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, nor does he desire to get out of it. It doesn't mean that the person should be attached with the body, no. But just keep it as Krishna desire. Just go with the flow. Don't commit suicide. That's the message that Srila Prabhupada put here. Mad asraya katham rishta srinvanti katayanti cha tapanti vividastapa naitan madgata chetasaha. Naitan madgata chetasaha. So we can become aloof actually, and we become untouched. I would say untouched by the miseries. Tapanti vividastapa, untouched by the miseries of the material world, material nature. Provided madasraya katham rishta srinvanti kathayanti cha, provided we have to engage 24 hours, especially in the chanting and hearing. Katham rishta, srinvanti, hearing. Katham rishta, speaking about Krishna Katha, hearing about Krishna Katha. Okay, second part. The next question concerns the dealings of a transcendentally situated person. The materially situated person is affected by so-called honored and dishonored offered to the body, but the transcendentally situated person is not affected by such false honored and dishonored. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether man honored or dishonored him. He accepts things as he accepts things that are favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he has no necessity of anything material, either a stone or gold. He takes everyone in his dear friend as his dear friend who helps him in his execution of Krishna consciousness, and he does not hate his so-called enemy. He is equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level because he knows perfectly well that he has nothing to do with his material existence. Prabhupada mentioned here quite few important points here. So first is that he's not disturbed, okay? He's not affected by false honor and dishonor. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness. So just like we see, there are so many examples given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The first one came across to my mind is that just like Samika Rishi, who was insulted by Parikshit Maharaj by putting a dead body of a snake around his neck. But because he was absorbed in Krishna consciousness, he didn't feel that, he didn't take that seriously. But his son was getting very upset with that and cursed Parikshit Maharaj. But a person like Samika Muni, who is actually a pure devotee of the Lord, doesn't take it seriously, honored or dishonored, wealth or poverty stricken, doesn't really matter. Just like Sudama Vipraus is poverty stricken, but he remained engaged himself in Krishna consciousness. And he accepts things as he accepts things that are favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. So this is the first of the 6 symptoms of surrendering. Anukulya sasankalpa, to accept whatever favorable for Krishna consciousness activities. So it doesn't mean that whatever, of course, Bhogaishwarya Prasaktanam, as we have learned before, Bhogaishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Paharita Chetasam Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Samadauna Vidyate. So that is the principle. Those who are too attached with Bhoga, material enjoyment, and Aishwarya and opulence, determination to engage in devotional service will not take place. That we have learned. But here, accepting whatever favorable in Krishna consciousness. So sometimes the immature devotees, they are rejecting wealth because they are thinking this is Maya. Well, like this. Maya is actually a state of our consciousness. Okay. Money is not Maya. Please note this down. Money, wealth, opulence is not Maya. Maya is when we disconnect money and Krishna. When we disconnect Lakshmi to Krishna, that's Maya. I was listening to lecture by His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj. He mentioned that money, which is derived by the devotees, that's actually the blessing of Lakshmi Devi. Therefore, we generally amongst the devotees, we don't say money, we say Lakshmi, right? Because we have this right consciousness that Lakshmi should be always engaged in Krishna service. But money, which is derived by the non-devotees, that is the gift of Maya, the gift of the material energy of Krishna. So that's the difference. But when money is derived by the devotees, when the devotees get money, that is actually the blessing of Lakshmi Devi. For the non-devotees, that is the blessing of Mahamaya. So now when somebody in the beginning, actually, many times when I was brahmachari, especially when I was brahmachari, many devotees, they wanted to give me some donation, but I rejected because I thought it's Maya. I don't need this, it's Maya. But that Maya is actually simply a state of consciousness. If I can see this money and see the way how can I engage that money in Krishna consciousness, so actually that is not Maya. The only thing is that the idea of Maya is that when we separate things with Krishna, when we separate ourselves, we separate our wealth, our family to Krishna, that's Maya. Rite ritam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vidyat atmano mayam yatha baso yatha tamaha. So Lord Krishna mentioned to Lord Brahma, this is the second verse of the Chatusloki Bhagavatam. Rite ritam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vidyat atmano mayam. Krishna mentioned, oh Brahma, please understand, tad vidyat, please know this fact. And what is the fact? When we disconnect everything to Krishna. Anything that disconnected to Krishna, that is Atmano Maya. That is actually Maya. Maya. Yatha vaso yatha tamaha. And that's actually darkness, Krishna mentioned. Yatha tamaha. Darkness. Okay. Does not hate his so-called enemy. So normally in the material dealing, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That is the principle, right? If somebody hate your enemy, that means he's your friend. But that's only in the material platform. Okay. Equally disposed. This is the behavior of those who are have transcended the three modes of material nature. Okay, finally, the very famous verse here. Mam chayo vya bicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This is the answer for Arjuna's third question. How to transcend the three modes of material nature? One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing. So avya bicharena, avya bicharana means unfailing, undeviated in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. So the level of Brahman. Previously, we see that by engaging ourselves in devotional service, we can transcend the three modes of material nature. Okay. Here, that statement is being emphasized. Those who are unfailing, unfailing in all circumstances. That means no, not even a second that he engages himself in Maya, then at once can transcend the three modes of material nature. That's why we are wondering and asking question that after practicing Krishna consciousness for quite a few years, why still I'm being influenced by Rajogun and Tamogun? Because we are not avya bicharena. That's the key words here. Avya bicharena, mam chayo vya bicharena. Avya bicharena is very significant word here. That unfailing, because we still give some chance for the senses to run here and there. Purport: Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions such as Ram and Narayan. Ramadimurti Skalaniyamena Tista. We found this verse in Brahma Samhita. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the form of Krishna or of his plenary expansion is considered to be transcendently situated. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them very easily. So this is the statement of Lord Krishna. Simply engage in devotional service. The three modes of material nature will be very easily overcome. Samasritashe padapalava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murari bhavam budir vasa padam param padam 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 yadvi padam natesham. So we know this world, padam padam yadvi padam. Actually, in every step, padam padam yadvi padam, there is dangers. In every step, there is dangers. Natesham, but these dangers will be insignificant for those who are Samasritasye padapalava plavam. Those who are taking shelter of the boat of Krishna's lotus feet. Plava. Plava means uh, sailing. Just like if you go to Indonesia, actually you will get this experience, because Indonesia is an islands country. So we have more than 17,000 islands. And wherever you want to go, if you want to go from one island to another island, it's nice experience. You go by ship, Plava. Padapalava plavam mahat punyam yasho murari. So Krishna is the killer of demon Mura is being praised here. Bhavam buddhir vatsa padam param padam. And if we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, so this big material ocean will become vatsa padam. It will shrink, becoming small, and the measurement will become just like a hoof print of a calf. So the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. So how we don't need a boat anymore? We just step over. If we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, this Durat Yaya, Mama Maya Durat Yaya, Krishna's strong, powerful energy will be easily overcome by all of us if we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet very seriously, especially if we serious about chanting our rounds. If you can experience this personally. If we chant our rounds early in the morning and in such a tranquility, peace, sattva gun, and we chant nicely, attentively, we feel like we are being nourished in our spiritual life. We are being nourished uh, rather than chanting inattentive chanting. I would say like that. It's just a mechanical chanting. It's just exercise of the mouth. Hare Krishna, like this. Just exercise of the mouth. But if we chant attentively, that is the exercise of mind and heart. That's different, and you will feel the difference. Okay, experience this. Etadyatu rachitanam matras parset chayamuhu bhava sindhu plavo dristo hari charyanuvarnanam. So this is the instruction of Narad Muni to Vyasadeva, the first canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 6, text number 34. Etadyatura chitanam. Those chitta, those mind, which is actually very stubborn and too attached with sense gratification. Matras parset chaya. Matras parset chaya. Just like this, matras parsas. That means this sparsa means the perception. So the senses will get happiness through the uh, contact with the sense object. So by contacting with the sense object, the senses will get the sense of happiness. This is called matras parsetchaya. Muhu means, actually muhu means again and again. Muhuschumbitam bimba. Mother Yasoda kissed Krishna's cheek again and again. Muhu. But here Srila Prabhupada translated as eternally. Actually, eternal should be nitya. But this muhu, matras parset chaya muhu. So that senses which is too attached with sense gratification, which is eternally attached, which is eternally attached, too much attached with sense gratification, is actually there's no hope for them of being liberated from the material world. But there is a chance. Bhava Sindhu Plavo Dristo. But when one sees an opportunity, Dristo, Bhava Sindhu Plavo, when one sees the opportunity of crossing over this Bhava Sindhu, this material world, this Bhava Sagar, Bhava Sindhu, the place of repetition of birth and death, ocean of birth and death. Bhavasindu Plavodristo Hari Charya Anuvarnanam. Hari Charya Anuvarnanam. Anuvarnanam means constant chanting of Hari, Lord Hari's name. So we can experience this Hari Charya Anuvarnanam, constantly chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, whether we are cooking, we are sweeping the floor, we are whatever, any activities, we can chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, no problem. Even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, perhaps you have heard this story about Gopal Guru. So there is one Babaji in Navadvip. So he could not stop chanting Krishna's name, could not stop chanting Krishna's name. And when one time he went to evacuate, and then he bite his tongue. And then there was a small boy came across, and then he looked at him, and then this boy's name is Gopal, Chota Gopal, small Gopal. And Gopal asked this Babaji, "Why are you biting your tongue?" And then later this Babaji answered that, "Because I cannot stop chanting Krishna's name. So I was doing a dirty business, evacuating, passing stool. So how can I chant Krishna's name while evacuating?" And then this Gopal said that, "What if you die while you are evacuating?" And then Lord Chaitanya just suddenly came, and Lord Chaitanya said, "Yes, Gopal, you are the real guru. In any time, place, and circumstances, we must chant Krishna's name. Of course, it should not be artificially. I also will not chant Krishna's name when at the time of evacuation." But those who are pure devotees, they will always somehow or other cannot stop chanting Krishna's name. Hari Charya Anuvarnanam. And this is a good training, how we can control our senses. Hari Charya Anuvarnanam, constant chanting. Atasi Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Graham India is Sevanmukhi. This is called Sevanmukhi Hijivada. Service of the tongue. Taking prasadam is one, and chanting Krishna's name is another one. Okay, the last verse, text number 27. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Oh, Krishna. The constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishable, eternity, and happiness. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the super soul, is the middle. And the second stage is in the transcendental realization. And the supreme personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. Therefore, both Paramatma and the impersonal Brahman are within the supreme person. This is described in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vadanti tattva vidastatvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmiti bhagavan iti sabjate. So there are three levels of understanding the absolute truth, and that is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is the topmost realization. So Brahman is normally realized by those who are personalists, the Jnani, by the Jnani, and then the Yogi, their realization mostly culminate to Paramatma feature, and the devotees, the Bhagavan feature, the personality, person. So therefore, Prabhupada mentioned here, Brahman and Paramatma, they are actually within the Supreme Person. because Krishna is the source of Brahman and Paramatma. Although a person may rise to the stage of impersonal Brahman without going further, with no information of the Supreme Person, his intelligence is not perfectly clear. Therefore, in spite of being raised in the Brahman platform, there is the chance of falling down if one is not engaged in devotional service of the Lord. Atirna Krishne Paratasvatova Mito Vipadyeta Griha Vratanam Andhanta Gobir Visatam Tamishra Puna Puna Charvita Charvananam. Matir Na Krishna. Those who do not develop Na Krishna. Mati means attraction. Matir Na Krishna. If we don't develop attraction toward Krishna, that means if we don't develop attraction toward Krishna service, Matirna Krishna, Puna Puna Charvita Charvananam, will fall down again, no matter if we all, even if we are promoted to the highest planet in this material universe, Brahmaloka. Puna Puna Charvita Charvananam, will fall down again. Puna Puna Charvita Charvananam, we will chew the chewed. It's so abominable. Chewing something which is already being chewed. This is material life. We've been dogs, we've been father, we've been mother for many, many lifetimes. We've been suffering the same suffering, birth, old age, disease, and death. Birth is actually such a very painful situation. Giving birth and uh, being born is actually very risky both for the mother and the child. Birth is very painful. Birth, old age, of course, old age, disease, death, all these four cycles actually the main problem in the material world. Puna Puna Charvita Charvananam. Again and again we have to undergo all these four things. We have to experience birth, old age, disease, and death. Mm, yeah, Krishna is the source of Brahman. So conclusion, just the concluding part. Devotional service to the Lord is very simple. Srila Prabhupada said this devotional service to the Lord is very simple because more than 1 hour we are talking about how to transcend the three modes of material nature. And the only solution is that devotional service. Is devotional service difficult? Is devotional service is easy? Or how is devotional service? Devotional service to the Lord is very simple, Srila Prabhupada said. Let's see. Srila Prabhupada writes, devotional service to the Lord is very simple. One should always engage in the service of the Lord, should eat the remnants of foodstuff offered to the deity. Sorry. So take prasadam, devotional service, smell the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the deities. That's devotional service. Not only smelling the flower, actually in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami described that simply by smelling the fragrance of the incense offered to the deities, one will get liberation. Just smell that fragrance of the incense offered to the deities by chance, because this nose will not wait to smell. Somehow or other, you will smell it. If you walk next to the garbage, you will smell the garbage. If you walk next to the temple or inside the temple, you will immediately smell the fragrance of the incense offered to the deities. So the senses, they will not wait to catch the sense object. And see the places where the Lord had his transcendental pastimes. That means visiting holy dhams. Read of the different activities of the Lord. his reciprocation of love with his devotees. Read Krishna books or any literature connected to Krishna. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chant always the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Charya Nuvarnanam, Hare Namanukirtanam, Kirtaniya Sada Hari. And observe fasting days commemorating the appearance and disappearances of the Lord and his devotees. And also, of course, on Ekadasi we fast. By following such a process, one becomes completely detached from all material activities. So that's it. Devotional service is very easy, very simple. Simple is for the simple. Yeah. Sometimes we feel that performing devotional service is not so easy, right? But if we simply follow this formula given by Srila Prabhupada, devotional service will become very blissful, very simple, very blissful, and realizable for the devotees. Sometimes those who are the karmis and gyanis saying that devotional service is for the neophyte in the spiritual path. But actually they are wrong. Devotional service is the topmost path, the highest path among any other practices in spiritual activities. So there is a very beautiful story narrated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I would like to end this class with this story. Yeah, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So the story is as follows. One time there is a very rich family. So this couple, they have son, and they want their son becomes a very successful person in the future. So they put their son in the school, they educated him, and because their son is not very intelligent in the subject of mathematics. So normally mathematics is very intricate subject in the school. Many people hate mathematics. So only those who have sharp brain will catch the subject very easily. So now this boy, he's already in the ninth grade in the school. And then his mother think that if I get a private teacher to educate him in the mathematics, so I think that will work out. So he found out one mathematics teacher and asked this teacher to give a private class at home. Then uh, this teacher now comes to the subject of trigonometry. If you remember, trigonometry is this triangle. Normally it's called ABC triangle, right? ABC triangle. Trigonometry. And then when the teacher explained about this trigonometry, so the teacher mentioned A, B, C. And then by chance, this boy's mother heard that teacher mentioned A, B, C. And then she immediately rushed to the teacher and said that this ABC, my son, he learned this 9 years ago. You shouldn't teach him about ABC anymore. And the teacher tried to explain, but the mother became very upset and kicked the teacher out. So this is just like the Gyanis or the Karmis think about devotional service. Devotional service is too easy, it's for the neophyte. But actually, uh, devotional service is the topmost path, because the Gyani thought that by studying the Shastra, we will come to understand who God really is, and ultimately God is, everybody is God, and I'm also God. This is the Gyani's conclusion of studying the Vedas. It's so hard to study the Vedas. Devotional service is so easy. And the karmis also think that, oh, this devotional service is so easy. The karma's path is actually much more superior because we are working hard to get the result. So yeah, that's end our today's class. We have about 9-10 minutes. If anybody has some comments or question, otherwise I will stop here. Yeah, Parasuram Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me? Hare Krishna.
Yes, we can hear you.
Prabhu, my question is like Bhagwan has a form, and we hear that even Paramatma has a four-handed form.
Yeah,
My question is, does the Brahman also have a form?
Brahman is just Krishna's effulgence. It's impersonal. That's why we call impersonal, because it doesn't have form. The only form that it has is just light from Krishna's bodily effulgence. So Brahman is impersonal. Impersonal means doesn't have any form. Just like how you describe the form of a light. There is a bulb and also light. So this bulb is Krishna, and this light is the Brahman, impersonal Brahman, the Brahma Jyoti. How? So it has no form. It's just light. It's just illumination.
We of course, in science we teach that even that is a packet of energy.
Mm.
So it has a form, but not a human form. So is that not a
Yeah,
personal form?
it might be having some form. It might be having some form, but uh,
Not a person form.
not a person form, not with the hands, not with the head, not with the helmet, not with the dhoti, yellow dhoti, not with Srivatsa, things like this. That's why we call it as impersonal. Impersonal means not person, not in the person form. It has form, maybe just some molecules, or I don't know. You are a physics teacher, maybe you learn all the science, but the form is not cannot be defined clearly. How is it? But it's just a light. How you describe the form of a light? Now you tell me. So just like that.
Example, he was
Uh, how is that? Who's saying that? Wiswambar Prabhu? You mentioned something? Yeah, I mean, Brahman is without form in the sense of you can't really define its form because it's just Krishna's bodily illumination. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, I would like to take your permission to end the class. Thank you all very much. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo. Om Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.